What's going on, people? Welcome back to Five and welcome to another episode of The Take On with myself, Flex. Miss Abby Summers. Don't know who invited her back again.
Permanent.
Oh, Jesus. I'm off. Joey Knights, fresh back off of the KO in America. Yep. Big settings. That is for you, my guy. Big settings, big KO. What was it, left hook?
Yeah, it was a left hook. Yeah.
Guy was down, out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, well done, man.
Appreciate
How you feeling?
That. It's good fun. Yeah. I feel good, man. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Can you reveal anything or?
I want Dean the Great. He's the champion, but I'm in the tournament at the minute, so I've got to stick with that. But if we can make it happen, I'll get straight in there with the champion next. That'd be good.
Calling them out.
Good
here
fun.
On Five. Call them out, Joey. Call them out. Okay. And Andy, massive Villa fan. Joel Bayer's ex-football coach. So I don't know if you lot saw Joel on his little social media doing his little rainbow flick and kicking it in the goal.
I taught him that.
Yeah. But huge Villa fan. And last time we saw you, Mr. Anton Ferdinand was trying to put it all on Villa, saying, "Oh, well, if you fall off, this, that, and the other."
He was talking like Villa were going to fall off, but I'm here today and Anton isn't.
Exactly that. He was very quiet. He was very quiet over the weekend as well, weren't you, Anton?
I'll send him a postcard.
We got a lot to talk about on today's show, man. The game tomorrow night at the Bridge, Manchester United going to face Chelsea. Less so just about the game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But two players I want to talk about in the right context. Yeah. Kobbie Mainoo and Cole Palmer. Now, they play completely different positions. You know, they're both young. But it's unfair to compare them just as players. But the question is, who's being asked to do more with what they have? And what we mean by that is it Cole Palmer playing in a struggling Chelsea attack? They're struggling for goals. They don't win many football matches. He's got 13 goals and 8 assists in 24 games, which is unreal. Or is it Kobbie Mainoo who's doing better with what he's got, which is playing in a stretched midfield that struggles to keep the ball? Yes, he's only got 1 goal in 15 league games, but like we said, they're different types of players. And he's only 18. This is his first sort of senior run of games. He hasn't never played before. Cole Palmer had a little bit last year at the beginning of the season. Joey, what are you saying on that?
Do you know what it is? I think when you ask that question, straight away, everyone's going to lean towards Cole Palmer, because I think the stats are always something that, I'm not saying they're skewing anything here, but they obviously enhance what you're looking at. Sometimes with Kobbie Mainoo, it's the eye test. It's what you see from him, which is why he's been so impressive, right? But here's how I would look at this. No one could come in and replicate the stats that Cole Palmer has. No one could come in and make the impact that Cole Palmer has. But are there other options there? Because actually, when you say a struggling Chelsea front line, right? Statistically, Raheem Sterling hasn't actually struggled for goals and assists this season. I don't think he's playing well at the minute, but statistically, he hasn't. Statistically, even when you look at the minutes played, Mykhailo Mudrik's stats aren't that bad for goals and assists. They're nowhere near Cole Palmer's. But what I'm saying is Chelsea would still have options, barring injuries, in that position. I don't think there's anyone this season in that Man United team that if Kobbie Mainoo comes out, could then have you performing to the same sort of level.
Or do what he's doing.
No.
Anyway.
Or do what he's doing.
Because even with him there, it's not like he's come in and now we win every game and that we're amazing. It's still very much hyper-focused on Kobbie Mainoo and how good he is with what he does with the ball. As a team, we're still not good. But that's a bigger context, and it's the same with Cole Palmer. As a team, Chelsea still aren't good, but he individually is just like head and shoulders, and I feel like Kobbie Mainoo's heading in that direction. I mean,
do you know what it is as well? What I will just say, right? Yeah. Cole Palmer didn't come into that Chelsea side straight away, right? Cole Palmer was coming off the bench, for example, against Nottingham Forest, a match we lost at home. For example, against Bournemouth, a match that we drew 0-0 away.
So you weren't starting straight away.
Aston Villa, he came off the bench in that. I think we lost that game 2-0 to you at Stamford Bridge early on this season.
Yeah, 1-0.
1-0. So I've just named these games that Cole Palmer was coming off the bench in, and we weren't losing. We weren't winning those games. We were getting draws, losses, right? Even now, if you look at the position we're in the table at the moment, we're probably lower than the position in the table we were when Cole Palmer first became a first-team starter? You can look at that and you could go, well, without his goals and assists, you'd be in a relegation battle. Maybe we would. But what I'm saying is we haven't actually levelled up in the table since Cole Palmer's been in there. I promise you now, at that time when you were desperately in need, when Kobbie Mainoo came in, because midfield-wise, you were picking between, Ericsson, whose legs were gone there, Scott McTominay plays better further forward, Casemiro's not having a good season.
Amrabat's been rubbish.
I genuinely think that Man United would be a fair few places lower in the table had it not been for Kobbie Mainoo's presence in that midfield.
Interesting point. Andy, what do you think?
I think he's made an impact. I remember the 2 games against Aston Villa that I think Villa dominated both games in terms of chances, and possession was pretty even. But I thought Kobbie Mainoo played really well in them 2 games. And when you consider, I'm not sure how many games he's played.
15.
15 games?
Played 15 games, and Cole Palmer's played 25.
He's 18 years old. He seems to have hit the ground running. I mean, he's made his England debut recently as well. So in a struggling Manchester United midfield, as you said, he's been a shining light, hasn't he? He's been a bit of a beacon.
Yeah, he has. Abby, what are you saying? It's a tough one because both teams are poor for different reasons.
Yeah.
And there's been different demands placed upon both
They're
players.
different. Like, they're totally different. I completely agree with what Joey just said about Kobbie Mainoo and the job he's had to come in. And I do think that he's been probably the best thing about Manchester United this season. I'm trying to think of other positives.
Yeah, there's ones that aren't outside the fan base.
Maybe Højlund.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
been good
Højlund,
Dalot's
shaky
been good
start,
this year.
but a bit of a diamond in the rough, and he will come good, Højlund. But for me, it's all been about Kobbie Mainoo. But when I look at Chelsea, and I'm not saying this to be, nasty as a Spurs fan, but
Before she starts being nasty.
for me, I genuinely don't know where you would be if it wasn't for Cole Palmer. He has been probably one of the signings of the season for me because of the impact that he's had to do. Is, he's 21 years old. He's literally come in and carrying Chelsea week in, week out on his back. Yeah, okay, they're, you're 11th at the time. 12th at the
12th,
time.
yeah, get it right.
Sorry, you're 12th now at the time of recording. You've just hit 40 points. We know you are staying up, and that is down to Cole Palmer.
There's been points deductions being handed out left, right and centre this season. I wouldn't speak too soon.
No, but genuinely, without being biased, I think that Cole Palmer is such an amazing player. I think his ceiling is so high. I can't really believe that City let him go. And I think he's been quite open. He didn't even want to go. He wanted to kind of go on loan, and they said, no, you either stay or you just go. And I think for the amount of money he paid for him, which was like 40 something.
40. I think it was 45 with the add-ons. And let's be honest, if they're individual player add-ons, then we're going to pay 45. But if they're to do with Chelsea as a team, we ain't paying no more.
But that's a bargain. Like, from a Spurs perspective, we spent nearly 50 mil on Brennan Johnson. And I've seen an improvement in Brennan Johnson. Don't get me wrong. This is not slandering him at all. But if I had 2 options on the table, I'm going Cole Palmer all day long. And I can't believe that no one else wanted him.
I think that's something that both of these players have got in common. Of course, Cole Palmer's got the goals and assists that you're going to look at and they're going to grab the headlines. But just when you look at the intelligence of players of these age, like, these guys both have the footballing brains of 30, 35-year-olds.
The way Mainoo plays, without doubt.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's going to really, really help their longevity in the game, right? When you see a young player burst on the scene with blistering pace and explosiveness, then they're the ones that they can fizzle out a little bit younger. Whereas these 2 guys, like, they are where they are. Of course, Cole Palmer with the goals and whatnot, but the intelligence of both guys' games. So they're both going to have longevity as well. I would honestly say that I think Kobbie Mainoo's doing more for what he's got there because there is that reliance on him. Also, versatility-wise, if Cole Palmer doesn't play on the right-hand side, he can play centre attacking midfield. We've seen him play in the false 9. So you can utilise Cole Palmer in different ways, whereas Kobbie Mainoo, it's so much more clear than it is for Cole Palmer in instruction. You've got that job to do, and that's pretty much solely what you've got to do. And if you don't do it, we've got no backup option for you, really. Yeah. That's how I see it.
For me, this is actually a really interesting one because for me, obviously, with the Kobbie Mainoo thing and being a United fan and just gassing him up, I could just be like, oh, yeah, no one can do that. And I could go down the route of what we always say as well. I know a lot of people don't like hearing it, but doing things at Man United as well with the extra pressure that it is playing for the biggest club.
Yeah.
It's bigger, it's harder, the scrutiny's more. And for a youngster to come into an unsettled team at Man United as well, any youngster, is just a different ball game to Arsenal or Chelsea or Spurs or Liverpool. It's just different.
Liverpool fans won't like that.
I think
They won't, but Man United are the biggest club in
It's
England.
probably helped that Man United are currently where they are. That he's been able to come in with no pressure. Would he have got a look in if they were higher up the table, if they was challenging?
That's the thing, Andy. That's the thing that I really like about him, because actually, yeah, I think so.
Do you think so?
I think this is a really rare case where, because people think that maybe he's just come in because of injuries or because Man United have been terrible. When you look, this was meant to happen. Like, he on pre-season tour, he was playing the game.
I was going to say, was this always going to happen?
When he got him in, they said, "Who's that kid in the under-18s?" No, get him in the under-23s. He's coasting. Then he smashes that, wins the FA Youth Cup, the under-18s. Keeps going forward, and it was like
he got injured in pre-season.
Then he got injured in pre-season and was out from July to October.
Yeah.
Do you know
So
what
it's a
else
long
is
one.
mad? When we look at Euro 2024 squads, right? If before a ball was kicked this season, and that's including the Community Shield where Cole Palmer scored and the Super Cup, if before a ball was kicked this season, you said Cole Palmer's going to make it in that team, I think eyebrows would have been raised.
Yeah.
But you could have gone, right, okay, well, clearly, this before he's gone Chelsea, he's, City are going to have injuries, he's going to really step up and whatnot. If you said Kobbie Mainoo was going to make it
People
into
would
that
say you're
team,
mad.
do you know what I'd have said? Who?
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of him, I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard of him.
and not a lot of people outside Man United would have, which is completely understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't there. He wasn't in the first team. He wasn't doing this.
No.
But then I know this is a bit cheeky to do this because this is about the Premier League and stuff. But then you add the England thing into it as well, with going away and making your debut, and in 2 games, I don't care what fan base you're from.
No, unbelievable.
Abby doesn't like it because he's had to apologise to Kobbie Mainoo.
It's not that.
But it's unanimous. It's like going, I tell you what, it's not just Man United fans going extra and like trying to.
He's great.
We need him for the nation.
No, listen.
he's a great
I've got
player.
Conor Gallagher that I could throw into the mix
Yeah.
for that position. I'm telling you now, when I'm supporting England in the summer, I'd like to see Kobbie Mainoo there.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what I feel
I
like
agree.
that's the best 3 for England, isn't it? We feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Rice, Belling and Mainoo. Hopefully that is defensive enough from a Southgate point of view that he does start. But I also didn't really understand why Cole Palmer didn't feature at all over those 2
even wanna have a
internationals.
look at
Like,
him.
he's great. He's having a great season. Just looking at the stats, okay, 13 goals, 8 assists, 6 of which are pens, Pen Palmer. But we're not gonna hold that against him for too much.
Got scoring.
You could look at that, and you could look at an international tournament coming up and go, and when
For
do we go
sure.
to a tournament? And at some point, we don't go to penalties. If
That's
you want a
it.
guaranteed penalty
Yeah,
scored,
he's there for
you
it.
got Ivan Toney there, you got Cole Palmer there.
I don't
That's
know why
2
he
that are
didn't.
guaranteed
I
to
just
go
don't know
in.
why he didn't feature at all over those.
I don't think he's going to go.
You don't think he'll go?
I don't think he's going to go.
Like, to not even get a
Do you know
couple
why?
minutes.
Do you know why?
It's odd.
Yeah,
Like, in 2 friendlies. Like,
But can I
Because
just
if it goes down
say
to
to you? I know,
23,
yeah.
I don't see how.
Position-wise, I know all right, a little bit different, but and this is mad, and I really, really rate this player. I hate to bring him into the conversation, but you're telling me Cole Palmer's not going to go, and Anthony Gordon is.
Andy Gordon may not.
He played in them matches.
Yeah.
He's finishing
Yeah.
the season well as
And it
well.
is- and it- he is.
Gordon.
But this is a Southgate thing, though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying in Southgate, the Southgate we know, I think when Grealish gets back fit,
Yeah.
he's going to
Grealish
go.
goes.
Rashford, even though he's been rubbish this season, is going to go.
Rashford
Sterling's
definitely
going to miss out.
yeah.
I think Ivan Toney
goes.
will go.
Tony
Will
goes.
Watkins
Do you think
definitely go?
Sterling?
Sterling won't go.
Sterling's got no
Sterling's
chance
gone.
of going.
But the problem that Cole Palmer's got, and this is where it's hard, is that is he going to play over Saka? No. Is he going to play over Foden on the right or in a 10? No. And that Gareth will look at that and go, Kobbie Mainoo, Phillips is done. Henderson, he's going to come back for the, for the setup.
for the vibes.
And then I need someone like Kobbie Mainoo. Then I've got Gallagher.
Yeah.
Madison's going to go. In the 10, he can play there, he can play on the left. He ain't going to go. He ain't going to go.
He should be going. He should be going
should
for
be.
me over Rashford.
And by the way,
That's
when
never
when
gonna
when,
No, but he
when
should
I
be.
answer
But
this question,
you could admit that, no?
Yeah,
Based
yeah,
on
he
form
should.
of this
He should.
season,
Yeah,
Cole Palmer
absolutely.
should be
He should.
definitely
Of
going
course he
over
should.
Marcus Rashford.
Absolutely.
When we're saying about this, I'm obviously saying the original question that was put to me is who has a harder job.
Yeah.
out of
And
these
you-
two?
and you're saying
who's-
it's Kobbie Mainoo.
I'm saying it's Kobbie Mainoo. If you say to me who's the better player, I almost don't like to answer it because
Yeah.
they're so
That's
different.
harsh. That's
but if I
harsh,
do,
yeah.
if I am going to have to answer it, I'm going to go Cole Palmer.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's got the harder job there? I would say Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah, I can see why. I think it is. I hate when you do this because they're 2 young players doing incredibly difficult jobs. Cole Palmer's literally got the whole of Chelsea on his back. It's his first senior season where he's the guy. He's left his boyhood club, gone to London,
And stepped up massively.
being
the main
and
man.
kept them just like you said. Where would they?
You know
be
what
about?
though? You say stepped up. Has he even stepped
down.
up, or has he just retained his standards and he's gone into a?
Well, in terms
but he
of
steps up 'cause he's
stepped up
playing.
from that he's playing week in, week
he's on the
out.
bench.
He's the man.
He's the only
he's the
one in
man.
your team.
Because another thing
that
is,
can
it's
do
not
that.
like Cole Palmer's come and we go, oh yeah, we know him, like he can do this. This is still a surprise because we hadn't seen Cole Palmer week in, week out. He's getting a game here and a game there. Do you know what I mean? So, very interesting. Predictions for the Chelsea versus Manchester United game will start by this way round and go around the table. Andy?
Score draw.
Yeah, score draw.
1-0 all over it.
Joey?
Score draw.
I'm the only one again. See? Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1.
Will you wear sunglasses? if
I
you win
won't.
this
Do you know
game?
why I won't?
Okay.
Do you know why I won't? Because the next game, like we're going to talk about right now.
Are United still hoping to get top 5?
Absolutely.
You don't think that's beyond
the same
you?
reason why you said you're not worried because it's Spurs chasing you. The reason why Man United can get a chance for Europe is because we're chasing Spurs.
Yeah, good answer. I like that.
Isn't that right? They've already, after we messed up against Brentford, their next response was, let's drop 2 more points so that if Man United beat Chelsea, we're already back to that same 6 where we was in it.
Listen.
And then they played Forest, and then you got that hard run of 4 games in a row where you play Newcastle away, Liverpool, City, Arsenal.
If you get 5th and it gets you Champions League football, you're so lucky. You're so lucky, man. And do you know why you're lucky? Do you know why you're lucky? Not to finish 5th in the table. You're lucky because if 5th gets you Champions League football, you lot were the ones that nearly messed that up.
Hang on.
It was Man United going out early. Why we were hearing that
Biggest
5th
club in
might
the
not
UK,
even
mate.
get you it anymore.
Biggest club in Europe, mate.
I'm not having any of what you just said. So rude.
Well, it's true.
So rude. For however good you've been, you're 2 points ahead of us, okay? We also spanked you 4-0 a couple of weeks ago, so you're not that good.
Yeah, it's 3 points.
We keep
3
slipping
points
up.
at Tottenham and you got 3 points at Villa.
We keep slipping
True.
up. We like to do that. I don't know why, but it's something that we it's banter. We like to do it. But you, putting yourself in this debate, worry about your
Why are we
middle.
not?
Just
Why
worry
are we
about your
not?
mid-table
Why are we not?
problems.
Why are we not?
Don't look at the top.
Why are we not?
Just look at.
We're not
just
looking at
look
the top.
where
I'm
you
looking
are.
to the place just
Don't
above.
even look there.
I'm not looking to the top.
Don't look above.
That's Arsenal.
Don't look above. Just
That's
look below.
Arsenal, Liverpool,
You've got
City.
teams chasing you.
No.
You've got teams chasing you.
You are Spurs.
Just look at your own problems.
Remember that you're Spurs.
Remember that you're United.
Whether it's you're doing the fake title challenge or the European thing or whatever it is when you do, you usually fail. So that's why so long as we're chasing you, I'm saying there's always a chance. That's all I'm saying.
I'm happy as
part of this as well.
I'm happy as a Villa supporter that it's Tottenham chasing us.
So I'm happy we're
Yeah, I
chasing you,
bet.
and he's happy with being. You just get no respect.
Like, literally none.
I mean Spurs.
No, I can't wait to finish.
you've got to
top
pay
four.
him
I'll see
respect for
I'll
playing
see
that
you
high
both
line
finish
with the
top
9
four.
men.
High line 9 men.
Don't
You know
you
what I mean?
stop.
I think
High line with the 9
High
men.
line for
I'm
life.
all right because our 2 best wins of the season have come against Villa and against
9 men.
Spurs, and
9
we're
men.
still.
Asterisks. Nice.
well,
Okay.
that was FA
And
Cup.
also,
Doesn't-
if you want to
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
the West Ham game for a
Whoa,
second,
saw
we'll
this.
just circle back to the West Ham game.
Okay.
Anton's not here, okay?
Okay.
Massive game.
They should have beat
cup
you, mate.
final. I can't believe he was away for the cup
They should have
final.
beat you,
He's
mate.
going to have to watch the DVD. It's their biggest game of
You
the
were
season.
rubbish.
Biggest game of the season.
Right, but they should have
biggest
beat you.
game. They always step up a
Antonio,
level.
flipping heck, Antonio, mate.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Right.
Point away at West Ham's
Oh,
season.
right. Okay, now it's a decent point. Flipping heck, mate.
Anyway.
Let's move on. But the reason why I wasn't going to be in glasses if we do beat Chelsea is because very quickly it's Manchester United versus Liverpool on Sunday. And I want to get your predictions for this. Could a loss against Chelsea and a battering against Liverpool just cost Ten Hag his job?
Ten Hag's job's gone.
I don't, that might be the case, but I don't see Liverpool going to Old Trafford and winning.
Good man, Andy. Good.
I don't.
Good
I don't. I just think that is a derby. Current form goes out of the window, as you saw in the Cup the other week. I think, again, I'm going to say another draw. I think Liverpool won't fancy going to Old Trafford so soon after getting knocked out of the Cup. I think that'd be playing in their minds. There's added pressure because they're at the top. I think it's going to be a tough game, and I don't see United losing that one.
Joey, are Liverpool now favourites for the title because of what happened on Sunday with Arsenal and City?
The bookmakers would make them favourites. I just look at Arsenal and I think the momentum they've got, the way they're playing, they're the ones that I'm looking at and thinking, right, I think it could be Arsenal this season. One thing I do know about Liverpool going to Old Trafford, I always try and predict the future by looking into the past. And normally, last couple of seasons, I'm not saying it happens every time because it doesn't. Sometimes you pull off some good results, good wins. Last couple of seasons, there's normally always one time against one of those bigger title-chasing teams that Man United take a bit of a pasting, isn't there?
No, at home we didn't. Last year at home we beat all the big six.
Not at home.
All of them.
But there's normally a game. And there was even last season, right?
Yeah.
It was against Liverpool, wasn't it? So...
Don't forget.
When I look at it, I look at this season so far. Obviously, you've lost to City, you've lost to Arsenal, but I think you've been quite resolute in those losses, as much as you could be. Maybe, do you know what I mean?
We have. The Arsenal one was close. We nearly nicked it, and then the offside.
You nearly did. City 0-0. You know, obviously you got.
As well.
Lost to Spurs.
Did lose to Spurs. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I think this could be the one where you do take a pasting. I think this could be the one where we see a 4-0 or something.
Not happening.
No,
not happening.
I just think with the added incentive of United trying to stop Liverpool winning the league, would it be for the 20th time?
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
What, so City can do 4th in a row?
No,
You know what I mean?
no,
United are in a lose-lose here.
Unlike
you, Joey, I fancy Arsenal to win the league.
Yeah, I do.
I do. So that aside, I think United have got the incentive as well as having an outside chance of getting top 5, and it's still an outside chance, as long as it's mathematical. I think as well as that incentive, they got the incentive of trying to prevent Liverpool from getting the 20th title.
There's just something about that game. It's the same as the FA Cup game. Going into it, everyone could see how Man United were going to get battered.
Yeah.
And it's just the derby game. And at Liverpool, at home, Jurgen Klopp's been fine.
It's your version.
Eric Ten Hag has been fine.
It's your version of Chelsea against Spurs that year. Do you remember?
Which year?
Do you remember that game?
Oh, the Battle of the Bridge.
2-0.
Yes, Joey, I do remember it.
Oh, and it's all kicking off.
Yeah.
See? You know what I mean? It's a derby.
They went 2 up.
For me, though, obviously, the weekend going into the FA Cup game, I was saying, listen, no chance. This is what we're going to do. It's harder to do that now because we've got there's Chelsea and then there's that. And it's like, whatever happens at Chelsea doesn't guarantee anything against Liverpool. Even if we beat you,
Absolutely
it doesn't mean anything. But I still believe that even if we got a crap result against Chelsea, we're still sort of, because it's a derby, we're still going to be up for it, and I think would still perform even if we had crap. It's the most Man United like thing to do. So I'm going to predict that we beat Liverpool as well. I'm going to just be positive.
Listen, there's going to be more twists and turns in that championship
6
race.
points.
There is going to be.
Yeah.
There's going to be more twists and turns.
Yes. On to Arsenal. I want to talk about Declan Rice. Obviously, the City and Arsenal game happened, 0-0, etc., etc. What the question is Declan Rice the best defensive midfielder in the league? Obviously, coupled with Rodri. That's going to be the obvious candidate to what we're comparing it to. Is that too much to say that? Is it way off? Is there an argument? Is there a discussion? Or do we need to slow down? And if not this season, can he become better than him?
I think it's a pick-em out of the two of them. I think, of course, you're going to look at the big moments that Rodri's had in his career and obviously the last few years. But if we're just going on, right, you're fielding a team this season, you can start one of them. I'm not saying Declan Rice is ahead, but I actually think Declan Rice is a little bit disrespected when we have this chat because there's obviously the thing of the English bias and, you get levelled that criticism whenever you talk about an English player. Everyone goes, it's Rodri. But I think he's done a little bit hardly done by Declan Rice. I do think that, I said this to you off camera earlier, when do you ever make £100 million signing and you're not saying anything about it? In fact, Arsenal fans, tongue in cheek, are saying they wish they could send West Ham a little bit more money for it.
Not enough.
I don't even think it was tongue in cheek. They actually
they believe it.
Started a GoFundMe at one point. They're such a weird fan base. Such a weird bunch.
All right.
Sorry, that was the bias coming out, but true.
What do you mean? What?
What? They're a weird fan base.
Yeah, like
they are.
They just overhype. Not
yeah,
overhype
they overhype everything. I mean, you would have. Look, they drew the other day. It's a good result at City, but
what were they over-celebrating?
Well, I just feel like they over-celebrated a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
What are they supposed to do? They're going to City where they haven't not scored a goal.
Yeah, great. They've been great this season. Like, cool, but like if you're going to win the league, like, great, got in, got out. Let's move on to the next. Like
last season, towards the sort of running before it went tits up from, they were celebrating every win, weren't they?
Yeah.
They really were. It didn't look good when they didn't win the league at the end.
I do agree with their fan base. They do get hyped, but I think that draw at City was a really. I've seen the media response and they've been so negative. I think that was a really good point for Arsenal.
It was a good point.
So why are you not giving them
Because I
praise?
just don't think they need to celebrate it like it was
What, a place where they've not got anything out of in a long, long time.
Yeah, they got a point. They parked the bus. Cool. Anyway, back to what we were talking about with Declan Rice.
Yeah, this was about Declan Rice.
I actually will go and say that Declan Rice for me has been unbelievable. I think he's been better than Rodri this season.
Yep. So do I.
I think he's been unbelievable. I'm just looking at the stats there, comparing. They're so similar. Like goals and assists, they're basically the same for. There's the odd percentage that kind of splits them the whole way down. But for me, Declan Rice, if Arsenal do win the league, it's because of Declan Rice. He has been the difference maker to get them over the line.
Do you know what Rice has got going in his favour, right? Out of the two of these, who out of these two guys has done something we didn't know they could do? We knew Declan Rice was quality. He just won a European trophy. But can you level up and go into a team that are competing for the title and, let's be honest, probably be the anchor of that team? Probably one of, if not the most important player in that team. With Rodri, we knew he could do this. Declan Rice now taking set pieces. Declan Rice has got an eye for goal now. Declan Rice is moulding, and I'm not comparing him to him, but more into the box-to-box, maybe a Steven Gerrard type player than we thought he could do. And that's why Declan Rice has surprised me more, and maybe that surprise is making me lean towards him. But again, I'll always come back to it. It's a pick-em. It's a 50-50 between
I've
the
got
two
the
of
same
them.
sentiments as you. I mean, Declan Rice, West Ham won a trophy last year, European trophy. He was their standout player last year. But let's be honest, Rodri's been doing it at a level for 2 or 3 seasons. Declan Rice has come in like a Rolls Royce. He's just fitted into the system. He's already scored more goals this season than he had previously for West Ham over 2 or 3 years. He's that anchor. A lot of the play goes through him. And I agree with Abby. I think if Arsenal win the league, and they're my favourites, it will be a lot of that will be down to what Declan Rice has contributed.
Not that I want to do it, but in the interest of being fair, I'm looking at Rodri's stats in a bit more detail, and like maybe are we sort of, because we're so used to his level that he is, are we maybe downplaying it a little bit with how good he actually is? Because even in the duels, 274 to Declan Rice's 226, successful dribbles 35 to Declan Rice's 15, take on success 77% to Declan Rice's 57, aerial duels 70 to 45, duels 165 to 118.
These stats you're reading now, though. These stats you're reading now, and the actual categories of them that you're reading. I can show you stats from Conor Gallagher this season.
That would be green like that.
That would be green like that.
Yeah. Goals and assists is the same.
Do you know what? I think it's obviously, look, stats are stats, but I still think they're very even. But the difference is that we're so used to City being at an unbelievable level.
We're shocked that someone like Declan Rice has come up.
100%. I mean, it's elevated. When I look at both teams this season, do I think City have improved with the signings they made in the summer and all over this season? No, I don't. I think they've probably been a little bit below par for them. Whereas I think I look at Arsenal, what they did in the summer, have they improved on last season? 100%. So that's where we're judging it. We're being harsh on City because of their own success and harsh on players like Rodri because we know what they can do. But I think that's where we're looking at it, because we think so highly of City, and Rodri for me last year was just unbelievable. Best in Europe for me last year.
And he's the benchmark of that position. When you look at like Busquets coming out of that area, and that
but in a first season for Rice at an elite level, and that's not being rude to West Ham, but taking that step up and being in a title challenge. I mean, we're comparing him to Rodri and saying he's had the better season. That just shows you all.
Declan Rice, he covers every blade of grass. I said it on DR the other day. Like he's just so good. It's a joke. I did want to talk about Saliba and Gabriel really quickly. Who do we think's been better out of the two? Here's where I stand on it, right? Saliba's getting a lot of plaudits, right? Rightly so. He's a good young defender, really, really good. I think Gabriel's gone under the radar, mate. I honestly do. Yeah. He has been, alongside Virgil van Dijk, he has been the best centre-back in the league. Like, this season. The amount of duels that he wins, he's commanded in the air, he's scoring from set pieces, and there's this like bit of misconception that he's a bit rubbish on the ball and that you can always get a mistake out of him. That a bit, I thought that last season, but this is why he's excelled for me so much this season. The mistakes have sort of dwindled. You're not seeing that.
That's the difference.
You're seeing him on the ball. He's composed. He's strong. There's nothing he can't do.
So this level he's playing at now, which is unbelievable,
Yeah.
especially in comparison to when we looked at him in seasons gone by. How much higher than this level he's playing at now do you honestly believe he can go?
Well, this level that he's playing at is like, if he plays like this for the rest of his career, he'll be fine.
100%.
So he's put like
But this is the ceiling.
And how much? So then, how much longevity do you think he can have playing at this level?
a lot. Because
do?
he's what? He's
Okay.
what? How old's Gabriel? 20, 23? 24?
25, 26.
Is it
I was
25,
going to say
26?
middle
Didn't think he
20s.
was
Right, he's 25, 26, so he's coming into his prime. And for me, he can be a very good Premier League centre-back for Arsenal for a long time. Don't get me wrong, Saliba's, what, 21? So
Do you know,
he's up and coming. But this season, Gabriel's been better than Saliba.
This is the same as what we were saying before. Saliba had a great season last year.
Yeah,
So
then
we're
he
all
got
talking
injured.
about how good Saliba is. But obviously, they massively suffered when he did get injured towards the end. Gabriel, and I said this on DR the other day, it didn't go down well with Arsenal fans, but he did always have a mistake in him. And I used to look, when we used to play Arsenal, and think, oh, actually, I don't mind if Gabriel's playing. I feel like there is something.
He's 26.
Something you could get against him more than Saliba. But this year, I'll give him all the credit. I think you're absolutely right, Joe. He's been probably up there with Van Dijk this year. He's been unbelievable. He's been better than any of the City centre-backs for me personally as well. So that just shows you the growth all over the pitch for Arsenal, not even just Declan Rice, but the centre-backs as well, full-back, everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Saliba was excellent last year. Gabriel as well. But this year, I think he's been the pick. I think defensively, Arsenal have improved as well.
Massively. Across the board,
Across the board.
Yeah.
So are we saying who we think's the better player out of the two of them?
I wouldn't pick.
Well,
I think
I'm
they
guessing you feel that Saliba's the better player.
I think they complement
Yeah,
each
that's
other.
what
like Gabriel's just doing a bit better now. is what
I
you're saying.
think that Gabriel, if the point you made about longevity there, that's the key thing. Because if he can continue this, then there's a real debate there.
Yeah.
I believe that if we were to go 3 seasons from now and we look at the past 4 seasons, including this one, I couldn't say that I think we'll consistently get that from him every season. Saliba, I think his ceiling's higher. I think we could see him
that's
go
fair.
on,
And he's
go
21.
on and do more.
He's-
But
Gabriel's
my
been there
God,
for longer.
Gabriel's been
Gabriel wasn't
good,
doing this
man.
at 21.
No.
What Saliba's doing.
I think it also helps having, that consistency with a partnership. Like Saliba is for me like a Rolls Royce defender, and I think where Gabriel was a little bit shaky, having someone with that composure next to you helps you get better as a defender. Like from a Spurs perspective, when Mickey van der Ven is in the team, Romero looks a much better player.
Yeah.
Like
And he's sort of saying,
Sorry?
Sorry?
I'm just comparing it to my own team. Just too much Arsenal going on. Very Liverpool of me there. But I think when you've got someone that is competent next to you, it ups your level, and I think that's probably what's happened with Gabriel and Saliba.
Most importantly, they are the perfect partnership. That's clear. They are the most rock solid partnership in the Premier League, without a doubt.
Bring quality.
At the
You
moment.
can't argue. with
Exactly.
Stats.
Guys, we've come to the end of the show. Thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you get involved in the comments below. Let us know what some of the dodgy takes were. But today, I don't think there really was any, apart from some of your
Sorry?
Spurs just trying to thinking that
Spursism.
you were nailed on to get in Europe. Actually, that's probably the worst take. That
Do you know what the worst take is? That you two just write Spurs off. We're just writing Spurs off.
No, we're just going off.
Don't do it.
We're just going off evidence, hardcore evidence. See you on the next show next week. Take care. Peace.